Okay, coming to you from my game table that I was going to use for a kind of chain of command, but I've decided to try out Disposable Heroes 2 that I just recently received. Have not played a game yet. I played Disposable Heroes 1 once or twice, and they just came out with the new rules. You can now get it at the Brigade Games game store. So this is a 42 by 42 inch table, so I adjusted the deployment zone from 6 inches to 3 for the defender, from 12 inches down to 9 for the attacker. Attackers are Germans, these units here. Early war, choose deployment zones or deployment points, and then you put those dice or some sort of indicator. So like this squad's going to come up on 3 within 6 inches. My goal is to take one of their deployment points in the first turn. Turns are long. I get 11 activations for the Germans, 7 for the Russians. One thing is, before the game, you can do one of 3 actions. You can recon, you can fire an off-board weapon, and move a deployment point forward 6 inches. Recon, you risk a chance of destroying a unit. Moving it forward a zone I didn't want to do, and I thought, well, let me practice firing off-board weapons. So the Germans fired a mortar, and as we all know, so what you do is you pick one of the deployment points. Now I'm doing this solo to run through the rules, so I rolled some dice to figure out which one. So I rolled for that one, which is what I wanted to do anyway, because it was near that house. And of course nothing happened. But it's bracketed now. That's what the blue's for. And I guess I need to do the same. So I'll do that for the Russians. The Russians have a 76 millimeter infantry gun. They also targeted one dice roll, which is one I would have gone for one of those two near this house. They were successful. They hit. So what happens is you roll a 1d10 for each unit in, because it's a blast weapon, so is the mortar. Since it's a blast weapon, you roll for 1d10 per person. Well, there's 10 figures in this unit. Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't say. So what happens if the Russians, if I were playing this by myself with an opponent, the Russian would fire on that, and then I, as the player, would roll and keep the effects secret of that. So the opposing player wouldn't know that he killed one of the people. So anyway, you roll a D. So once you've hit, what is it? A roll of a D10, an accuracy of 5. So you have to hit 5 or less with modifiers. So I hit, and then I rolled a D10. Because it's a blast weapon, you roll a D10 for each unit. Otherwise, you use the firepower of the weapon. So if it's a firepower 1, you'd roll 1 die. But a blast weapon, 1d10 per person. Well, you have to get for that particular weapon, 2 or less is a kill, 8 or less is a not suppression. We'll call it suppression, but it's called something else. Suppressive hit, maybe. Anyway, so 1's incapacitated, but then the rest of them were suppressed. Well, so then you roll for suppression, and you roll a guts check. Yeah, that's it. You roll a guts check then for every incapacitating or suppressing hit. So I was rolling 10 dice again. Now you roll against your gut score, which for this unit is a 10. No, I'm sorry, an 8. But you subtract every incapacitating and suppressing hit, so that's minus 10. So 10 is as high as you can get. 10 minus 10, there's no way to succeed except for if you get 1s. So I got 3 1s, so that's cool. So then I only ended up getting 7 suppressions. Once you go over 5 suppressions in a unit, that unit is essentially wiped out, and you have to do something called a regrouping, which I will do. So normally if they were on the table, you'd take them off the table, and then you could try to regroup later in a future activation, which I'll do immediately. So that was a bummer. I don't know where my platoon headquarters is. I need to find him. Anyway, so that's that. Well, that makes sense. So the first turn goes to the Germans. So they're going to activate. I'm not sure what I'm going to do yet, but I'll come back to you later. Sorry for that long ramble, but that is the beginning of Disposable Heroes. So yeah.